All right, everyone, welcome to the Dekalb Chamber of Commerce Candidates Night. Thank you for joining us for tonight's event. I want to thank everyone who submitted questions in advance, so we have those for the candidates. We appreciate that. We did receive a large number, so we'll try to get to a good number of them over the course of the evening, but we probably won't get to all. But thank you to all of the candidates for participating in the event tonight. Also wanted to let you know that for those candidates that are not part of tonight's forum and on the ballot, we want to make sure that you have a chance to learn a little bit more about them. So you can go to our website at dekalb.org and click on the Candidates Night image, or you can hit the drop down for candidates information and find some videos about some of the candidates that are running for this election. So chance to watch a short video, find out a little bit more about why what their background is, why they're running for the open office that they are. And like I said, a little bit more about those that aren't part of tonight's event. But I would also like to thank our sponsors for this evening, 94.9 WDKB, the Daily Chronicle, and WLBK. And we appreciate all of your support for promoting tonight's event. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our moderator for this evening, Mr. TD Ryan from WLBK, to handle the moderation of the event. And TD, it's all yours.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. We appreciate that. This is what a face for radio looks like, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what that is. And I grew this mustache about 2 months ago. You're the first people to get to see it due to the COVID, so excited to show you that. But as we wait for our three candidates for the second ward to get situated, I want to give you all the candidates a little advice from three of our former presidents. And that first one would be Abraham Lincoln, who said, "In all debates, let truth be thy aim, not victory or unjust interest." Now, truth be known, that is not actually from Abraham Lincoln. When I typed in the search engine Abraham Lincoln quotes about debates, I got all his quotes from the debate. So actually, that's William Penn, but let's pretend that was Abraham Lincoln. Teddy Roosevelt, my favorite president, who said, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." Good advice there. And then Richard Nixon, not about his debate with Kennedy, but 1952, Nixon was the VP nominee with Eisenhower. And a news story came out that he was receiving money from a slush fund. Nixon took his case directly to the people on a new medium called television. And that, of course, was his famous Checkers speech, where he talked about his daughter loving the dog Checkers, and they're going to keep that dog. Well, Nixon thought he blew the speech, but when he got in the elevator after the speech, people that had watched it were crying. And thousands of letters came to the Republican National Convention, and they had to keep Nixon on the ticket. And the rest is history. So I advise to all of you now, here's 70 years later, an opportunity to talk directly to the people of DeKalb. So talk directly to the voters like Nixon, but make that the only thing you do like Nixon. Be practical like Teddy Roosevelt, bully, and be honest like Abraham Lincoln, or William Penn in this case. And if anybody gets out of line, remember, we're all on the same team here, and we're all going to be civilized. This is my civility chicken. All right? So if anybody is uncivil during this debate, I will hold up the civility chicken. And if you get 3 civility chickens during this process, you will be deemed uncivilized. So if we're ready, I do believe let's meet our candidates for the second ward. Now, there will be an opening statement. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their opening statement, a 1 minute to answer their question, and then a closing 90-second statement. We're going to start now with opening statements from Wesley Holdley, candidate for the second ward in DeKalb. Wesley, if you're ready, 2 minutes for your opening statement, sir. Wesley, I think you have to unmute yourself. Wesley, if you can hear me. Wesley, I'm afraid you have to unmute your microphone.
Just pop up. How's that?
There we go. Now we got
sorry, folks.
Let's try that again. 2 minutes, Wesley, for your opening statement, sir.
All right. Thank you. Welcome to everybody. I'm candidate Wes Holdley for Ward 2. And thank you, everyone, for giving us a chance to be able to talk to everyone and have this little debate. First of all, I'm going to let you know that I'm from the area. I grew up in the area. Got a lot of stuff invested. Graduated from Aurora University. I've been in law enforcement most of my career. DeKalb County Sheriff's Department in the city of DeKalb, where I retired after 27 years. Through that period of time, I've worked with our finance division. I did our for the police department for the last 8 years before I retired. And so I had to work with them and the Finance Advisory Board. So I got a lot of stuff behind me that, and I was also chairman of the board of directors for Dekalb County Credit Union. I was also president of our charitable league for 14 years, did a lot of stuff in the community. I want to give back to the community is my goal here. I also want to make sure that we prosper. And I don't want us to forget about when we do prosper, or we want to see growth at the economics, but keep our, kind of still try to keep our small town intact. And we got to keep our relationships still together with the NIU, the county. And I just want to say thank you and welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Wesley Holy, again, the candidate for the second ward alderman here in DeKalb. Now let's hear from second ward candidate Barb Larson. Barb, 2 minutes for your opening statement, please.
Hi. Before I begin, I want to thank the DeKalb Chamber to host this tonight and get it working with COVID. Hi, I'm Barb Larson, and I'm running for second ward alderman. 2 decades ago, my husband and I moved off the farm and into town. And after looking at many communities, I chose DeKalb. I chose DeKalb for many reasons. It's great schools, diverse population, and many wonderful quality of life aspects. Given the chance today, I would still choose DeKalb for the same reasons. And now, as one of your candidates for second ward, I hope you will choose me. I hope you choose me because I am so proud of the diversity that's in our community, but I want to work towards greater social equity. I not only want everyone in our community to feel welcomed at any commission or council or staff position, but to be invited to these tables to work towards greater inclusion. I hope you choose me because I support DeKalb's recent momentum in economic development. Facebook and Ferrara are going to bring new jobs, new residents, and diversify our tax base, which will benefit all the citizens of DeKalb. We need to continue to be business friendly to attract new businesses to our community and help alleviate the burden on our taxpayers. And finally, I hope you choose me because I support fiscal responsibility. I may be new to politics, but I'm not new to budgets. To keep DeKalb moving forward, we must remain fiscally responsible and totally transparent so that everybody knows how we're spending our tax dollars, your tax dollars, and it in ways that are benefiting all the citizens of DeKalb. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Barb. We appreciate that. And now opening statement from JJ Wett. JJ.
Good evening. My name is JJ Wett, and I'm running for Ward 2 Alderman. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce and everybody online for watching. DeKalb is not where I grew up, but DeKalb is where I grew into a man. Since my arrival in DeKalb 18 years ago, I have dedicated myself to improving the lives of everyone in our city. I began my undergraduate degree at NIU in 2003 and graduated in 2007. After working as a case manager, I returned to NIU for my master's and graduated in 2012. Since my time at NIU, I served on the DeKalb Commission for Disabilities. I was an assistant scoutmaster for Kingston Boy Scout Troop 47. I am currently a member of the Transition Planning Committee, which helps young disabled adults move into adulthood. I'm also the chair for Avance Homes and Genesis Developmental Training Center. For my job, I'm the clinical director at the Cowb County Youth Service Bureau, where I oversee day-to-day operations. As you can see, my life has been dedicated to the service of others. My journey as a resident of DeKalb has forced me to learn and transform into who I have become. I believe that everyone deserves equality, that Black Lives Matter, and that the working class is what drives our city. Creating an equitable city for all of our residents, cultivating prosperity for businesses, and ensuring justice are my top 3 values that bring me to council. I'm JJ Wett, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you very much, JJ. Thank you for your opening statements. Now, you'll each be asked the same question, and you'll have up to a minute to respond to the question. And we will start with Barb Larson. And Barb, the question is, What are the three main areas of focus for you if you are elected?
I think the three and I've kind of mentioned them in my opening statement. I think fiscal responsibility, and that opens the door to so many other things that we can do with Dekalb then, with new programs and, encompassing more services that we can provide for our citizens. I think that we need to look at inclusion and social equity, that it's not just for people who look like me or look like you or look like whoever. It's for every citizen of Dekalb, no matter what their ethnic background, their social background, it doesn't matter. Everybody, we're all Dekalb. That's who's going to make us strong. And finally, I think let's economic growth, because we can't just depend on overtaxing our taxpayers now. We have to come up with other ways for tax revenue.
All right, thank you, Barb. And JJ Wett, the same question. What are the three main areas of focus for you if you are elected, my friend?
So first off, obviously we have to rebound from the pandemic. This pandemic has hurt everyone, top to bottom. It's hurt businesses, large, small, and everything in between. So first off, I really want to focus on rebuilding the small businesses in Dekalb. You see a lot of them downtown that go in and out of business, and what we need to do as a city is we need to help them out. Next is obviously infrastructure. We drive down Cowb roads, there's potholes everywhere. We need to fix the streets. We need to also really focus on how we can build out our infrastructure. And one of the things that I am thinking about is something like Rochelle. And then last but not least, social equity. And I know I'm out of time there.
Yes, you are, JJ. I'm sorry. But again, in your closing statement, you can get back to that issue there in your last 90-second closing statement. Wes Holdley, the same question for you. What are the three main areas of focus for you if you are elected?
Well, actually, I think we all three have the same ideas. We want to continue the growth and keep the economic stimulus going. We actually want to do it, but we don't want to tax ourselves, to the hilt to do it. So got to keep growth, keep the taxes low. Definitely got to help the small businesses, just like JJ said. That's it. And I got a lot of friends that own a lot of businesses here in town, and that was one of the things they told me when I was going to run for candidate for Ward 2. The other thing is roads, definitely. Going out, putting our signs up and looking at the roads and seeing how they're just basically run down. Is we need to fix these. That's our infrastructure. Work on that, get that going. And like I said, I want to talk a little bit, a few minutes too, and make sure that we realize we got to work together as a community. This has got to be everybody's got to jump in and do this. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Wesley. Now the next question, JJ Wett will be the first to answer, and that is, what attributes do you bring to the position that make you the best candidate for the role? JJ Wett, please, 1 minute.
I think that my experience in leadership roles really speaks volumes here. As the chairman of Avante Homes Genesis Developmental Training Center, we really have to oversee the budget, how the budget works, the expenses, the revenue that comes in. For those that don't know, Avante is actually a for-profit business. It's not a nonprofit, and so we really have to monitor that budget really closely. I think my current job as the clinical director of the Youth Service Bureau, I have to oversee that budget as well. So obviously I bring that financial background with it. But I also think representation matters. Obviously I'm not your normal run-of-the-mill white guy. And so I think it's good to have a diverse voice on the council.
All right, thank you, JJ. Same question to you now, Wesley Holden. Again, that question is, what attributes do you bring to the position that make you the best candidate for the role?
I think leadership is one of the main ones. Like I said, going through the ranks of the Dekalb Police Department, the deputy chief, being in charge over 200 people, puts that in perspective. And then top of that, like I said, doing our police department budget for the last 7-8 years and sitting on that finance advisory board, listen to the community on that part, and then go into our finance department and getting this budget intact and make sure we can pass it. The other thing, as chairman of the board of directors, the credit union, I had a lot of time to work with budgets and stuff with that and with other things in general. So yeah, that leadership, I gotta say, it's just, I want to put a lot of back into the community. I do a lot of charitable stuff, always have and always will, as did my family and my daughter. So thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Wesley. And again, now with the question to Barb Larson. Barb, same question. What attributes do you bring to the position that make you the best candidate for the role?
I would have to say my perseverance. When we first moved to Dekalb, there was some property behind us that I thought, oh, I'd like to own a little part of that. And nobody knew who owned it, couldn't find out. Everybody told me I was crazy. Let it go. You'll never get it done. 19 years later, I found out who owned it. It went up for sale. I was able to get 7 neighbors, the park district, the forest preserve, 2 sellers, 10 closings, get it done in 90 days with no problems, because I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So if I think something is good for Dekalb and its citizens, I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to be there working for everybody. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Barb, for that. And now our next question, Wesley Hoadley will be the first one to respond. And Wesley, the question is, what or who would you like to see benefit from the funds from the new TIF district?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
The question is, what or who would you like to see benefit from the funds from the new TIF district?
I would say I'd like to see the community benefit. There are a lot of things out there within the community, other organizations that actually took a big blunt with this COVID-19 that we could actually share some of that TIF money with. I'm sure donations are down. People are hurting for money. So with TIF, we'll be able to do that. And also maybe use a little bit, like I said, for the infrastructure, like the roads, the sewers. Once everything starts thawing out, I think we're gonna see a few more leaks around town. I know that they're doing a good job now with the staff we have, but we got to continue to keep doing that. So, yes.
All right. Thank you, Wesley. And Barbara, the same question. What or who would you like to see benefit from the funds from the new TIF district?
Well, my thoughts on TIF, just the whole why we have it, is that it outlines a certain area, but it's to benefit the whole community. And because we're back down to, we have one tax base, and that's where we build all of our programs and services and street maintenance and all that stuff from. So we want to pick whoever's within that TIF district, make sure the choices we make, that they're going to be profitable and that they're going to help support Dekalb in general, and then increase the revenue across the board. So it should be for the whole community. It's not just a certain this business or that business. It's pick the ones that are going to be great, and they're going to be great for everybody. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Barb. And JJ Wett, now the same question, and that is, what or who would you like to see benefit from the funds from the new TIF district?
Yeah, so just like Barb said, we got to make sure that we're maintaining who we give it to in that district. The other thing is we have to make sure that we're following, all the laws and legalities in the projects that some of these businesses apply for. Because I think sometimes when we think about TIF, we don't think that it can be spent in different areas. But the biggest thing that I would really like to see happen here in Dekalb is more worker cooperatives. And what I mean by that is they're small businesses that are owned by the employees. Hy-Vee is actually a worker cooperative. And so what happens is the workers get a stake in the company. So therefore they feel invested in that company. And so I think it's not only financial investment that we need, but it's also social investment. And that's what a worker cooperative can do.
All right. Thank you, JJ. We appreciate it. Now our final question, and this time it'll be Barb Larson leading off for our final question. Again, 1 minute to answer. Barb, looking to the future for 2 or 3 years, what changes have been made with you as a member of the city council to make this a better place to live, work, and raise a family? 1 minute.
Well, I start with the three focus things that I started with. I think that puts the direction on our compass of where we want to go as a town. We're going to want to go for economic growth, and that will help with fiscal responsibility. But it also has to include everybody. And I will say this, and when I say everybody, I don't mean just the council members or, you know, these leaders. I think I'm going to throw that out just as people will say to the council what they want from us. I want the city of DeKalb to really open up their arms too and become inclusive. I want it to be a citywide thing, that we're going to be the city that welcomes everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. All right, JJ Wett, now the same question. Looking to the future 2 to 3 years from now, what changes have been made with you as a member of the city council to make this a better place to live, work, and raise a family?
Yeah, so I think the first one that I'm going to talk about is financial equity for your typical resident. Financial equity currently for millennials and Gen Xers is often carried in our houses, right? We don't have a lot of stocks and bonds if we look at the statistics. And so really what I want to do is I want to make it financially equitable for people to own homes here, and financially more easily available to own homes here, whether that's working through the Realtors Association or whether it's doing another worker cooperative with housing. I think we can do that. The next one that I really want to see is I really want to see that mental health aspect of the police department continue to rise. And third, just be inclusive for everyone.
All right, thank you, JJ. And the same question to you, Wesley. And again, that is looking to the future for 2 to 3 years. What changes have been made with you as a member of the city council to make this a better place to live, work, and raise a family?
Well, definitely I want the environment to be a lot better. As you know, like I said, with the COVID and things of that nature and things that are happening around the world. This used to be a small community, worked together, corn country. Loved it. We got a lot of businesses coming into town down south side of it. So we got more people. We're probably start moving into town. In order to do that, we also have some more affordable housing. Now, I know they say the salary spread is going to be a little different between, you know, the executive and then the worker and things of that nature, but there'll be a lot more coming in. And I hope to see a lot more growth down there because that's going to be a lot more tax money coming into us for the city to be able to do the things we need to do to make it better for everyone. Just like Barb said, it's for everyone. We're not going to exclude anybody. So we got to work together to get that accomplished. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Wesley. And now we will have our closing statements again, up to 90 seconds, and we will start with JJ Wett. JJ Wett, 90 seconds for your closing statement.
All right. Once again, I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. And I'd also like to thank them again for calling YSB the nonprofit of the year. I'd also like to thank the voters for tuning in online. I know that during a pandemic, it's not always the easiest to get the information. The city of DeKalb is taking great strides with economic development. The Ferrera Candy Company will bring in 1,000 jobs, 500 of which by the end of 2021. Facebook will also add the Ethernet infrastructure of our city. With these jobs and these improvements comes revenue for our city, thus developing a more equitable place for everyone to live. It's time for representation that helps all of our residents. It's time for representation that is open to listening. It's time for representation that makes DeKalb a city where everyone wants to live and thrive. It's time for representation that thinks outside the box and is willing to step up to the challenge. Most importantly, it's time to progress together. I'm JJ Wett, and I ask for your vote for Ward 2 Alderman. Thank you.
Thank you, JJ Wett, again, second ward Alderman candidate. And now Wesley Holy, 90 seconds for your closing statement, sir.
Okay, I want to thank the chamber for, again, for this, putting this together. I want to thank Ryan, Barb, and JJ. Yeah, we're pretty still. I think we all have the same ideas. One way or the other, we're all agreed. We'll make this community great again. I want to get back to more a little bit, like I said, community-wise. I love this community. Like I said, I grew up around here. I've been here. My wife and daughters graduated from NIU. I think with the new Facebook and the new candy company on the south side coming in, bringing in more of the business, I think more tax revenue coming in, our growth is going to continue. And I hope down the road that just everything starts getting a little bit calmer and we can work together as a community. We got to talk, sit down and talk. We can get things accomplished more by talking than we can by anything else. I don't want to overtax people. I don't want to do that. And I want to get our, infrastructure situated. So there's a lot of things out there to get done and get accomplished. I think all three of us got the same thing. So we want to agree to do that. So thank you. I appreciate the chance. Second ward Alderman.
All right, that's Wes Holdley, Alderman for the second ward Alderman candidate. And now Barb Larson, 90 seconds for your closing statement, please.
I too want to thank the Dekalb Chamber for putting this together and making it so easy to do this Zoom on Facebook. I hope tonight that you've learned a little bit more about me and that I will bring perseverance, an open ear and an open mind, and a desire to see all Dekalb residents thrive. That's what I want to bring to the position of second ward Alderman. I will try to work hard for greater social equity, wherever I can, whether it's in my personal life or with the council, a business-friendly environment for the businesses that are currently here and trying to survive COVID, and for new businesses that are coming, hopefully. And fiscal responsibility. To me, that is the foundation of a strong community. You can learn more about me at barblarsonforalderman.com. Please get out and vote on April 6th and choose me for your second ward Alderman. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. And there you have it, your three candidates for the second ward Alderman, JJ Walt, Wesley Holdley, and Barb Larson. Thank you, all three of you, for what you do and for having the courage to run for the office. I commend you for that. So thank you. All right, now we'll get ready for our fourth ward contested race here. We're going to just have a little downtime here to get all our members back up here too. But remind you can go to dekalb.org. You can see videos from the candidates, learn more about what their candidates are about, why they're doing what they're doing, why they're running, and some of the issues that we can touch on here. So again, go to dekalb.org there and learn more about the candidates there and be an informed voter. So now we move to the fourth ward, and that would of course include Matthew Keys and Gregory Perkins. As just like we did with the other candidates here, you'll have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and then we'll ask you 4 questions, up to 1 minute for each of those questions, and then 90 seconds for your closing statement. So for opening statements, we will start with Matthew Keys. Matthew, you have 2 minutes. Please go ahead. Matthew, I think you have to unmute yourself, my friend. Matthew, we just need you to unmute your.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. Now we'll start your 2 minutes. There's Matthew Key. 2 minute opening statement, please.
Thanks to the chamber, obviously, for hosting this event. I'm sure it'd be a lot more fun at the public library or at the Egyptian in person, but until we can all get a shot, I'm glad that we have this technology and all the folks that can put it to work. Also, a big thanks to UTD for moderating this event. I was born and raised in Dekalb. I went to grade school at St. Mary's and the public schools. I graduated from DHS. I attended Kish College in Northern as well as Triton College. I lived in Tempe, Arizona for a few years and witnessed the early stages of their community's major transformation. I've spent my adult life here and in Chicago observing the things that work and the things that don't. My career has been in the construction industry. I focus on historic preservation. I understand our built environment and the creative ways that it can be improved. I look forward to lending those skills and my knowledge of the community to make Dekalb the best place it can be for all of our residents. I feel that if everyone comes together and pushes for quality development, redevelopment, and social development, the sky's the limit. Participating in the new strategic plan for Dekalb was the primary driver for my decision to run for office. I believe Dekalb's in a unique position to be the next new destination for residents and businesses. We got a lot of work to do in our community. We have incredible people that, given the right tools, can help us all stay safe and keep Dekalb moving in the right direction. I support our public works, our police force, the EMT, and firefighters, and their respective unions. And while property taxes need to be addressed, further cuts to these vital institutions is not the way to do it. As aldermen, I'll strive to maintain and add to the existing staffing levels and funding. The TIF's been a major issue for many years. This funding mechanism can be very beneficial to the community, but it's lost our trust in the past. And I'd like to see outside audits of future major expenditures, and to focus on those folks who already own their buildings and have a desire to improve them. Some simple steps that can help the community feel good about the manner in which these funds are distributed. As I've spoken,
Matthew, I'm sorry, your 2 minutes are up, my friend. Okay, but we will get back to you now. We were going to hear from Gregory Perkins. Gregory, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement, my friend.
Good evening. I'm Greg Perkins. I'm current alderman of the 4th Ward in Dekalb. It's been a pleasure serving the 4th Ward of the city of Dekalb. Politically, I'm an independent, focusing on Dekalb first. Party doesn't really matter to me. I want to get things right for the city of Dekalb. I've been a lifetime resident in the city of Dekalb, like my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather. We've been in Dekalb since the early 1900s. Education-wise, I'm a product of Dekalb. I'm a graduate of Littlejohn, Clinton Rosette, Dekalb High School, and I have a BS of Finance and from NIU. Professionally, I spent a lot of my time in the financial industry. I've been a cost accounting manager, a controller, supply chain manager, and currently an operations manager. Socially, I've been involved in a lot of different things in the city of Dekalb. I've coached a lot of baseball, a lot of softball, a lot of football, for baseball for DC Lightning. I helped create the NAFC girls the soccer team. Residence-wise, I've lived around the city of Dekalb as well, so I know quite a bit about the city of Dekalb. I grew up on Oak Drive in a small town west of town, or a small farm west of town. Lived on Market Street for a while. Lived in Tilton Park for a while, and currently I live in Heritage Ridge in the 4th Ward. I'm a business-friendly, focused guy. I believe in fiscally conservative. I'm proud of what we've done in the city of Dekalb in my time on the council. We've had a lot of development. The Facebook development, Ferrara, a couple balanced budgets. We've got a new police contract, a new fire contract. Basically, I'm pretty pleased, pretty happy with what we've done. That one of the most interesting things was the passionate discussion on chickens. I can't believe that we've had so much discussion on chickens. And in that context, if we want chickens, let people have the chickens. One of the big things I'm a big fan of is listening to the people. First and foremost,
Greg, I'm sorry, you're past your time as well, too. And
okay,
by the way,
you.
I have the civility chicken here with us. In case anybody's not being civil, it's a civility chicken. You will get one of those. So now you'll each be asked 4 questions. You'll each have 1 minute to respond to that question. We'll start with you, Gregory. Gregory Perkins, the first question for you is, what improvements do you see needed in downtown Dekalb to make it a better place for business to succeed, students to visit, and families to enjoy? 1 minute, please.
You know, one of the biggest things I think with downtown in Dekalb is just some of the development that's happened in the last couple of years downtown. You know, we've got the developments over that Pappas is doing, those 3 developments, and the redefinition of City Hall are going to bring a lot of bodies downtown. Those bodies are going to create a lot of traffic, and I think it's going to create some demand for the downtown businesses. I think that those things, you know, it gets to be a bit of a chicken and an egg thing to your civil chicken. I think if we create the demand for downtown, it'll help downtown thrive and flourish. So I think that's really exciting to see. You know, I think there's been a lot of debate on use of TIF and application of TIF, but I think those are some of the big things that are really cool. You know, I think you can create some things that you've seen more so in Geneva and some of the other areas, but the development's a big deal.
All right, thank you for that, Greg. And now, Matthew, the same question. What improvements do you see needed in downtown Dekalb to make it a better place for business to succeed, students to visit, and families to enjoy?
Well, one of the biggest ones that I thought about going into this was that we needed to limit a little bit of the traffic going down there by going to 3 lanes. And, you know, fortunately, that's something that I was pleasantly surprised to hear was going to happen. I need to see, I'd like to see sensible development. I'd like to see some TIP reforms. TIP can be used correctly to really benefit the community. I think that we definitely need to be able to throw some money at some COVID recovery if we can find it anywhere. City staffing obviously is something that's going to help keep the downtown clean and keep it clear of snow and all that kind of stuff. And the strategic plan is a big deal too. So.
All right, thank you, Matthew. And now next question is for you, Matthew. What do you bring to the city council that will make Dekalb a better with you as a member?
I've got a really good understanding of the community. I've been here for a long time. I've been to a lot of other places. I've traveled a lot. I've looked around at other cities that are our size, that are similar to us, that are bigger, whatever. I've seen the things that they've, done and done wrong. And, I've seen some of that around here too. And I think that we've got an opportunity with an influx of some tax dollars to really, maybe lower some property taxes for people, hopefully. But there's a lot of things coming down the pipe that I'm not aware of currently because I'm just a civilian at this point. But I've heard, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There's a lot of interesting things that above and beyond what we've already seen in the last year or so. So I look forward to helping out with all of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Greg, the same question to you. What do you bring to the city council that would make Dekalb a better place with you as a member?
I think my focus on fiscal responsibility is a big benefit for the city. Our taxes are way too high. They're among the highest in the country. So I think it starts with focusing on that balanced budget, solid procurement policy, and decreasing some cost. Somehow we have to take some cost out of the city to get our taxes in line. And I think focused on our fiscal responsibility is a big deal.
All right, Greg, the next question is for you as well. And that is, what programs or plan do you have for helping local businesses bounce back from the challenge of COVID?
Focuses or plan. I think that the city has been pretty supportive of local businesses right now. With the I think, I'm not sure if abatement's the right term, but the reduction in taxes that in the hospitality side of things, on the bars and restaurants, doing everything we can to be as business friendly as we can from the budget side on the city is a big deal to continue to encourage small business in the community.
Thank you, Greg. And Matt, the same question to you. Now, what programs or plans do you have for helping local businesses bounce back from the challenges of COVID?
Well, I think we have an opportunity with some of the tax dollars that are coming in from the Southside development to hopefully be able to bounce back a little better than some other communities and really try and spread that windfall out and really help out our local businesses and take it easy on them when it comes to some of the regulations. Maybe just be sensible about it and listen to the business owners and see what they need and what we can do for them.
All right, very good. And the final question to Matt, you'll be first here. What doesn't Dekalb offer that you would like to see it offer, and how would you accomplish this in your role on city council?
Well, I think Dekalb has a lot to offer. I think that we could use a go-kart track, but other than that, I think Dekalb's a great place, and I think it really does have just about anything to offer anybody that could be here, business or residential. I think that we should definitely help to improve the neighborhoods. Maybe we can help out homeowners to get their properties in order, help them with planning or with permits, or just listen to people and see what they really need and work towards that.
All right, and Greg, the same question to you. What doesn't Dekalb offer that you would like to see it offer, and how would you accomplish this in your role on the city council?
I think a couple things. That go-kart track, that's a pretty good idea. Another one, we don't have a Top Golf. We could really use a Top Golf. But seriously, I think Dekalb's a great city. We've got a tremendous amount of diversity. That's one of the awesome things about Dekalb. I think we could stand to see some improvement on South 4th Street and on 23 on Lincoln Highway. Those areas, I think those sidewalks are right on the street, but that's a big journey there because you involve IDOT. But I'm more of a glasses half full guy. I think Dekalb's a great city. The Top Golf and a go-kart track would be great, but I think we're on a great track with our development on the south side with Ferrara and with Facebook. We're on a great trajectory. And with NIU, we've got a lot of great things to offer.
All right, very good. Now time for our closing statements, and it will be Greg Perkins going first. Greg, you have 90 seconds for your closing statement. Please go.
Well, again, like everyone else, I'd really like to thank the chamber for hosting all this, and thanks to UTD for pulling all this together. I think it's a great opportunity for people to learn more about the candidates and who they are and what we'd like to do with the city. My key closing points, key talking points. I'm an independent, DeKalb first. I'm a seasoned, experienced professional in DeKalb with a strong financial background. I'm fiscally conservative. We've got to drive our taxes down. I've really tried to do all I can to listen to the populace and build consensus. Done that a couple key times with the nearing thing and with the city hall thing. You know, where we got people together and listened, and the community involvement was great. And again, I'd like to thank the city or the chamber for hosting this thing. Great event.
All right, very good. There you have it. Your two candidates for the 4th Ward Alderman in DeKalb, Matthew Keys and Gregory Perkins. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for running for office again. It's a courageous thing to do in these times, and we appreciate your efforts.
Edie, we got a closing statement.
forget
From,
Matthew.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Yes, it's time now for the closing statements. I apologize. And that's going to be Greg Perkins will start with the closing statement. 90 seconds.
I
think it's Matthew.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matthew. I'm sorry, Matthew. Now with the closing statement. I apologize. 90 seconds to you, Matthew.
Or is it still on TV? I think I'm still on TV. I don't have it. Can you hear me, TV? Okay.
I can, but very quietly.
I'm sorry. I just don't have a yellow box like I thought. But anyways, you know, I had some good conversations with Public Works and city staff. I talked with firefighters. You know, the things that I've heard from the mayor and the things that I've seen going on are really pretty awesome. And a lot of the ideas that I had going into this, you know, the questions that I had were answered in a way that I was really impressed with. And I like the way it's going. And I really am excited to have the opportunity to be involved in the future of the city of DeKalb as your 4th Ward Alderman. So get out there and vote for me. Thanks.
All right, now I can say it. I apologize for that again. Those are your two candidates for the 4th Ward Alderman, Matthew Keys and Gregory Perkins. And thank you, gentlemen, again for your time and your efforts.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to the mayoral candidates. But again, you can go to dekalb.org and see all the videos from these various candidates, find out why they're running, what is their motivation, what are some of their ideas. Again, go to dekalb.org and you get a look at the candidates' videos. And now it's time for our two mayoral candidates. That would be Colin Barnes and Carolyn Morris. And we're going to give the opening statements. We'll start with Colin Barnes. Colin, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement. Please go.
First one is thank WLBK, WDKB, and the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce for putting this on, especially UTD for moderating this. I don't know how you find the time to do everything you do, but I appreciate you finding the time tonight to make this happen. So you all know I'm Colin Barnes. I'm running for mayor. I love this community. I have an extreme passion for it. I grew up here. I went to elementary school, middle school, high school, graduated from Kish College, graduated from NIU. The only time I left this community was to serve in the U.S. Army for 2 years or 3 years, sorry, as an airborne infantryman down in Fort Benning, Georgia. But I came back here. I got called back up for Desert Storm, but I still returned back to DeKalb after it was over. This community has just been so good to me. It's where I met the love of my life. I've been married for 28 years. We were both going to college together when we found each other. We raised 2 kids, K through 12. Both went through DeKalb High School and had an absolutely incredible education throughout our public school system. So thanks to the teachers and thanks to the wonderful schools that we have for helping us raise 2 just fantastic kids. But I'm a business owner. I'm a commercial property owner. I'm invested. I've always been here. I'm going to stay here. This is my home, and I really want to work hard to bring as many opportunities as possible to those that are here. Over the last 2 decades, just my service to this community, I've been on multiple boards and committees, had the privilege of serving on those like the Ben Gordon Center Board of Directors, advocating for mental health, to being an adult leader in my son's scout troop, helping shape our future leaders with our youth in this community. But I've also I championed the #ProudDeKalb movement. I've been elected to the DeKalb School Board. I championed and co-chaired the referendum to build a new high school, new elementary school, and bring equity to the rest of our schools here in DeKalb, which was just fantastic. But recently, I also just rotated off as being president of the DeKalb County Economic Development Corporation, where I worked with Bill Nicholas, who I appointed as my vice president, to help bring the Frara and Facebook data center here to DeKalb, which is over $1 billion investment and 1,100 jobs to our community. Thank you.
All right, it's Colin Barnes. And now Carolyn Morris, a 2-minute opening statement from you, please.
Hi there. So I'd like to tell you the story of how my family chose Dekalb. First, I was a Marine. I'm a combat decorated veteran with 13 years of experience leading 140 Marines. I've been running nonprofits for the past 8 years, and I'm the executive director of a local nonprofit. Service has always been a way of life for me. Giving back is what I enjoy doing. It gives me purpose. So I got out of the Marine Corps to stay home with my 4 children, and I chose to finish my Bachelor of Science in Economics at NIU. We chose DeKalb to buy a home in and landed in the 1st Ward, where I was so fortunate to be elected as the 1st Ward Alderman. I love serving so much as an alderman. As our family grew, I chose to buy another home, still in the 1st Ward, which is a tiny little space, so it's not easy. Now we live in Heatherfield by the high school, where all my children can walk to school. It only took me a few weeks of serving as an alderman to know that I loved it. I loved taking care of people and their problems. By the first summer that I was serving as an alderman, we had a number of dangerous fires in my ward that impacted so many. I knew I had to better equip myself to serve the community. So I went back to school to pursue my master's in public policy and administration at Northwestern to focus on the most difficult problems our community is facing, like public safety, education, and equity. Finally, I chose DeKalb again when I decided to run to be your mayor, because I understand why people choose DeKalb to buy homes and set up businesses, and I'm asking you to choose me as your mayor.
That's Carolyn Morris with her opening statement. And now we'll have our first question, and there'll be 6 questions here, and you'll have 1 minute to respond. Both of you have the same questions. And we'll start with you, Carolyn. What plans do you have for attracting new business into our community?
First, I'm really focusing on attracting residents to our community. So I think that the city manager and the DeKalb County Economic Development Corporation have done a fantastic job of attracting companies. So to me, the focus is to harness that value of those new companies coming to town by making our town the only choice for them to live. That they don't want to live anywhere else because the schools are so great here, the quality of life is so great here, that they choose to stay here. So those are my priorities, focusing on public safety, equity, and investing in and educating our youth.
Thank you, Carolyn. Colin, the same question. Now, what plans do you have for attracting new business into our community?
I think we have a lot to offer already. I mean, when you think about our school district and the education we can provide our children, it's just phenomenal, right? The amount of parks that we have more parks than most communities. So, and then the university and all the entertainment and sports available there. It's just a great place for people to be able to come and live. But when it comes to attracting businesses, I was president of the Dekalb Chamber of Commerce. As I mentioned, president of the Dekalb County Economic Development Corporation. I've spent 20 years working hard to figure out how we can attract more businesses to come here in order to diversify our tax base, right? Which is really important. We got one of the highest tax rates out there. So we still need more from the businesses community to come here. When they do come here, then we need to make sure that that experience that they have when they're doing their development, when they're making their migration, that the city of Dekalb is as business friendly as possible. I still want definitely code enforcement. There's a lot of things that we need to do as a community to make sure that those businesses that come and build here do a very good job. But at its core, we got to make sure that it's also easy, that we are inviting, that we are welcoming, and we're going to support them as a member of our community.
All right, Cohen. And now the next question will be for you first here. And that is, what changes do you think need to be made to make DeKalb known as business friendly? 1 minute, please.
You know, if you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, I could have probably gone on for a half hour on what that would look like. Now, under the leadership of City Manager Nicholas, the city of DeKalb is completely transformed. And I know this firsthand because during the previous city manager's time with us, I was doing a construction project downtown DeKalb, relocating my business to downtown. And I had to work with that entity and what it was like. And it was very, very difficult and frustrating and made me second guess why I wanted to make an investment in DeKalb. Then Bill Nicholas arrived and the new mayor arrived. And all of a sudden, working with the city became so much easier, so much better to schedule people to come out, to do their inspections, to tell me what needed to be done. I really looked at it that the city of DeKalb was an asset and a partner in my development, as opposed to the way it was before, which was an adversary.
All right, Carolyn Morris. Now the same questions. What changes do you think need to be made to make DeKalb known as business friendly?
So I can't argue with Cohen on that one. It's pretty straightforward that everyone has experienced a significant increase in business friendly experience since city manager Nicholas has come to the city. So on that, I remember that when city manager Nicholas first came to that position, he had planned to serve for about 3 years. And so we all have been thrilled with his service and hope he continues for another 20 years. But we know that that's not the most likely thing. So we need to have a good succession plan. And that succession plan has to include finding a fantastic city manager, very similar to Bill Nicholas, who can make sure that the processes remain smooth.
Very good. And Carolyn, the next question will be for you as well. And that is, what can be done to support higher education and workforce development efforts to ensure a pipeline of qualified candidates for employment?
Well, I think we've already got that covered. We have a fantastic university here with creating that pipeline, and that's part of why Facebook and Ferrara chose to come here. However, one of the big problems that we're having in this nation is that the achievement gap begins at age 3. And so because of that, I think it's really important that we focus on preschool education and ensuring that our children are ready to go to school when kindergarten comes around so that teachers can have an easier time teaching and focus on that instead of discipline problems and the like. So I really think that we'll have a more capable workforce if we invest in our children at a much earlier age.
And Colin Barnes, the same question. What can be done to support higher education and workforce development efforts to ensure a pipeline of qualified candidates for employment?
I've got a great relationship with President Freeman and President Borowitz at Kishwaukee College, but in particular, right before the pandemic hit, President Freeman and I were meeting monthly to address this particular issue almost head on looking at that pipeline. How can we make sure that it's important to all of us? I know that NIU students that go to NIU when they graduate, what an opportunity to be able to have that workforce right here in DeKalb, that pipeline coming into the business community. So how can we start working and integrating the community into the curriculum at Northern Illinois University to form deeper connections with students, deeper connections with the colleges, just deeper connections overall at NIU. So when graduation day hits, not only are they know about the community, but they've got a connection there. They've made a commitment. They've had experience working with the business community and working with the community. And that's one of the ways that we're going to be able to retain students to be able to have jobs here, but we're going to bring the business community to NIU as well, so they know what students are available for those jobs.
All right, very good. And Carolyn, now the same questions. What programs, I'm sorry, what can be, oh no, we did that right. I'm sorry, moving on to the question. This question is for Cohen, I apologize. And that is, what programs do you plan to support and how will these programs be funded? And if you could, please be specific.
You referring to the last question, TD?
I'm sorry. No, this question is for Cohen. And let me repeat the question. I apologize.
Yeah.
What programs do you plan to support and how will these programs be funded? Please be specific.
And programs, I don't know what we're referring to, TD. I'm sorry. At the city, from the last question?
That's the only question that I have here.
I'll run with it. So programs that we look at the city of DeKalb itself, our streets, I hear that a lot from our community, that there are a lot of community members that want to do more for our infrastructure in the community itself. There's also, when we look at our police department and fire departments that are out there, there's additional funding that they need, because if you look at over the last 3 years, they've actually had a reduction in force across all levels at all departments within the city of DeKalb. And the way I look at it as raising taxes is not a solution to support any program or any service in the community that we want to add on. What we need to do is bring on new revenue streams, and those new revenue streams, a perfect example is for our candy company, Facebook, but being as business friendly as possible to be able to attract businesses to our community, to attract more people to our community, to bring in additional tax revenue to fund those programs and services.
And Carolyn, same question to you again. What programs do you plan to support and how will these programs be funded? And if you could, please be specific.
Sure. So I want to support Preschool for All. That is a state-run program that funds Preschool for All, and we have 2 Preschool for All daycare centers, preschool education centers in DeKalb currently. I'd like to see more of those. I'd like to see more after school programs. I think our children need something to do when their parents can't drive them there. And I'd like to see public safety programs ramped up. So the kind of thing that I'm talking about is seeing more community involvement through the police department and watching the community have an impact on how policing is done.
Very good. Our next question, you'll be first as well, Carolyn, and that is, how will you address quality of life issues in our community, including access to appropriate and safe housing and crime, so businesses want to want to come to DeKalb?
Actually, focusing on quality of life has been a big deal to me for the past 2 years. I'm really passionate about it. So, when I became alderman, before I became alderman, I was intimately involved with the Annie Glidden North Revitalization Plan's final plan and studying it and trying to see what I could take from that plan. And so I was fortunate to be involved with the steering committee as a 501c3 was created from that final plan. And that plan had 10 specific outcomes that it was looking to make happen. And so Opportunity DeKalb has been, instrumental in championing those programs. And I want to see those all come to fruition. So I've been working as a co-chair of the community services group under Opportunity DeKalb, where I was. And during that time, I was able to work with the University Village Collaborative and take part in many different projects that are intended to change the entire University Village area.
All right. Thank you,
in the
Carol.
Glidden area.
And again, the same question, you, Cohen. How will you address the quality of life issues in our community, including access to appropriate and safe housing and crime, so businesses want to and will come to DeKalb?
Yeah, people being safe it's a foundational component to having a good quality life here in DeKalb. And we definitely have some issues in our community that need to be addressed. Consider them opportunities. But in particular, Hunter Properties, a landlord that we have in our community, is one of the core reasons why we have some of the crime that we have in DeKalb. And that's something that I'm going to be passionately going after and trying to address, because we have not done enough to address that landlord and the conditions they subject their residents to be a part of, and the impact that they have on the overall DeKalb community and on Northern Illinois University. But that being said, I believe in doing things in parallel, and quality of life also comes down to having cool and fun things to do. So making sure that we've got events and we make it really easy for people that want to put on events to be able to put those on. That if there's a unique business coming downtown, like Byers Brewery in my building was a perfect addition to downtown DeKalb, that we as a city need to make sure that we're focused on those too, because quality of life goes beyond just safety.
All right, very good. And Cohen, you'll have the final question. I had a choice of a couple, but I figured this one covers the most ground. Within the first 100 days, what do you plan on doing? 1 minute, please, Cohen.
1 minute, I love it. So within the first 100 days, what it really comes down to is I'm going to definitely meet with all department heads. I think it's going to be important just to go and introduce myself, let them know a little bit about me, let them know what my priorities are, but then also to find out what issues that they're having, or what obstacles, or what can I do in that role of mayor to be able to make their department even more successful. So definitely going to focus on that. Reviewing the makeup of all of our leadership and all of our commission members as well, just to make sure those commissions that we have are operating at the highest capacity. And I've got a long relationship in our community, forming relationships with people, being a collaborative nature to be able to bring the best people possible to those commissions, to be able to, and there's a lot of commissions that may be absolutely perfect, but I want to make sure that they're operating in line with what I believe is best for DeKalb. And then lastly, what it comes down to is just learning from City Manager Nicholas. He is a great resource that I can look forward to spending time learning from him in order to figure out how to be the best mayor possible.
All right, Cohen. And Carolyn, the same question for you. Within the first 100 days, what do you plan on doing?
I think strategic planning for the city is long overdue. That definitely is something that needs to take place at the beginning of my role there. And, you know, I also have the advantage of having served there for the past 2 years. So I'm intimately aware and involved with what's been going on, and I'm fully abreast of it. So one of the things that we've been pushing for the past 2 years is a community survey to get some feedback from the community to see what the community wants to have happening. So I think the combination of a community survey with some strategic planning will be a fantastic start in the first 100 days, coupled with you know, looking toward getting more aggressive with Hunter Properties, who is really causing a lot of trouble in our space, and starting a preschool for all.
All right, very good. And now we're down to our closing statements. I would just I'd like to take a moment and thank you both for your service to our country. We appreciate very much what you've done, and I know I speak for the community when we thank you for that. We will have 90 seconds for our closing statement. I wanted to point out that I have not had to use the civility chicken all night long, so we appreciate you all being courteous and being learning from each other. So now we're down to our closing statements. And Carolyn Morris, you have 90 seconds for your closing statement, please.
Thanks, TD. So to achieve equity, we need economic progress and bridges out of poverty. We need increased median incomes and decreased poverty. I'll use government, private, and nonprofit resources to open opportunities for affordable housing, paths to homeownership, access to an excellent education, the chance to work in a job you love, and the chance to build the future of your dreams. On education, the achievement gap begins at age 3. We need superior schools to attract more residents to Dekalb and broaden our tax base. To become a stronger community tomorrow, we need to invest more in our children today. On public safety, we need our police force to be present when and where danger exists, and our policies to be fair and free of systemic racism. Because I chose Dekalb to make my home, because I've experienced many different environments during my 13 years in the Marine Corps, I know what makes a place somewhere people choose. It's great schools, an amazing quality of life, and a safe environment to raise their families in. I bring the most experience, the right training to the city of Dekalb, and I'm asking you to choose me as your mayor. My website is carolynmorrisformayor.com, and my Facebook page is Carolyn Morris Fighting for You.
That's Carolyn Morris, a candidate for mayor of DeKalb. Colin Barnes, 90 seconds for your closing statement, please, sir.
Sorry. Again, Chamber, WLBK, WDKB, TD, awesome. It's really cool that we take the moment to make sure that candidates running for office, and many as offices as possible, get the opportunity to be out in front of as many people as possible. And with COVID right now, it's made it really difficult for those of us that are campaigning to be able to reach people and be able to have those conversations. So really awesome that you guys all did this. For me, I just wanted to close with reminding everyone quality of life is a big component in our community. And it's important to everyone in our community, all of our residents, and we all come from different perspectives. We all come from different lenses. And being here in this community for so long and the relationships that I've formed, it's been educational, and it's been humbling to hear and listen and see some of the people that are out there and what their priorities are. So I look forward as mayor being able to make those connections in our community so more people have a voice, and city manager, mayor, council, city government in general speaks for more than what it really does at this point. But then also, like I said, quality of life comes down to just cool and fun things to do. We are a college town. When your friends and family come to this community, there should be 20 things that you can't wait to do with them, to show them, because of the pride that you have in DeKalb. And that pride is something that I want to bring back to our community. But ultimately, I want to be mayor. April 6th, please vote for me. You can go to my website, cohenbarnesformayor.com, to find out more about me. And lastly, I just wanted to let you know I am absolutely experienced for this job. I'm committed, and I'm ready to work. Thank you, everybody.
Those are your two candidates for mayor of DeKalb, Carolyn Morris and Colin Barnes, and we thank you again for your participation. And I thank the DeKalb Chamber for allowing me to be part of this event.
Thanks, TD.
Thank you, TD, and thank you to all the candidates that participated in tonight, and all the candidates that are running for the upcoming election. There's a lot of people out there that have opinions and say stuff through a keyboard, or say stuff that complain about stuff, but for you to step forward, all of you to run for an open office, we appreciate that. For all of you that submitted questions, we appreciate you being heard. And remember, there are videos for the other candidates that are available on our site at dekalb.org, so you can find out a little bit more about them. This whole evening will be recorded. And again, this evening was not meant to be complete list of all of your questions being answered. But I do say that if you have additional questions, feel free to contact the candidates directly. They've given you some websites or Facebook pages or email addresses, so you can get your questions answered directly and feel more educated as a voter of the DeKalb area. So thank you again to our sponsors, 94.9 WDKB, the Daily Chronicle, and WLBK. Thanks to everyone, and have a great evening.